Upon rewatching one of my favorite childhood TV shows, Infinity Train, I came to appreciate just how detailed and great of a show Infinity Train really is. From season 1 to 4, each episode never fails to amaze after watching. Despite all of the great aspects about Infinity Train that I could spend all day going on about, there is a noticeable gap between the best seasons and the more underwhelming ones. So let's get to ranking each season of Infinity Train from worst to best. Remember to like and subscribe and comment your thoughts on the video down below. At 4th place, I have season 2 from the show. At first when watching this season, I was damn excited after season 1 set the bar so very high. Going into season 2, I like Mira Tulip as a character even though she was a bit of a jerk in season 1. However, the further I got into season 2, the more I dislike Mira Tulip. She's a bit insecure, has an ego, and always seems to stay ignorant, especially to my man Jesse. She gives off this vibe of, it's all about me, and I just can't get down with that. On the topic of the other characters, Jesse is definitely my favorite, and you know what? It's not necessarily close. I really wish the show would put more of a focus on him instead of Mira Tulip, and have her as a side character to him. The whole dynamic of his self-confidence and him not sticking up for his brother is really intriguing to me and fits the mold of passenger problems perfectly. It's just a shame that a lot of these side plots surrounding Jake weren't dived into as deeply as they could have. I don't have much to say about Alan Dracula. He's just a bystander for a majority of the show, and it's just a way for the writers to escape plot holes during episodes. The Flex have no personality whatsoever, and are just your stereotypical good cop, bad cop duo. These guys just lead to all the too familiar chase plot of Mira Tulip and Jesse running away from the Flex. Those are all of my gripes with this season, but apart from those though, this season still isn't too bad. I'd say all of the episodes are decent. Jesse and Mira Tulip have okay chemistry together, and the show does manage to pull off some incredibly heartfelt and meaningful lessons throughout its duration. As far as ratings go, I give this season a 7.5 out of 10. In 3rd place, I have season 4 Duet. After the first time I watched this season, I was quite underwhelmed with what I just saw, but the more I've watched it, the more it's grown on me. While I'm still not the hugest fan of any character in this show on an individual level, and some of the storylines feel pretty episodic, I still really enjoyed it as a whole. Let me start with what I wasn't such a big a fan of though. My biggest complaint is the amount of filler or unnecessary episodes in this season. The season is only 10 episodes that span about 11 minutes each to begin with, so why do we have to spend 5 minutes trying to cook some food for a random pig? You could say it's part of the train gimmick, but none of the ideas here feel as unique or surreal as in season 1. Here, they just feel dumb and silly. Thankfully, I can only count a few episodes where it really feels like I'm wasting my time watching this, and most of the series is pretty intuitive. There are a lot more positives than negatives with this season. For one, I love how the writers go more in depth with the backstory of Ryan and Mingy. The portrayal of how Mingy is a subtle, academic, and straightforward character who likes to play it safe, and Ryan's an explorer who wants to have fun is really well done. Kez's character development is also a sight to behold. All of this culminates into a great resolution that makes watching the show feel worth it. This season is easily an 8 out of 10. Coming in as a runner-up, I have season 1. For me and many others, season 1 was our introduction to Tulip and the Infinity Train itself. As a kid, the premise of the show was super captivating, and season 1 perfectly illustrates the standard and purpose of the train. The only part of this season that let me down a bit was the first 3 episodes. In that way, you could say that the show had a bit of a slow start, as it seemed that the writers were still experimenting how they could tell this story. After that slow start though, the show picks up quickly, and man does it pick up. The pure emotional intensity that each episode brings, along with us getting more and more in a glimpse into Tulip's personal problems that brought her to this train, keeps you engaged all the way through. I seriously don't think there's a single episode that doesn't build up or at least signal the climax. Tulip is easily the best protagonist that Infinity Train has ever had, and the oddballness of Atticus and 1-1 really adds to the surreal feel. Not to mention that the introduction of Amelia during the final 2 episodes were great. I can go on all day about how many good things this season has going for it, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. Now, if you're thinking of getting into Infinity Train, this is a perfect season to start at. I give this one a 9 out of 10. Finally, in first place, I have Season 3, Cult of the Conductor. The greatness of this season doesn't even start in Season 3. It starts in Season 2, when we have a peek of the Apex and their chaotic lifestyle. In terms of storytelling, design, and concept, this is easily the most focused season of Infinity Train, and you can tell. The symbolic references, the hierarchy of the Apex, and the bond between Simon and Grace make it an instant classic. Although the length of this season is identical to any other, the density of each episode makes it feel way longer than it actually is. This season is full of plot twists and emotional turns, so that the presentation feels more like a movie than anything else. I don't want to spoil too much, but the way that Simon slowly loses respect for Grace and ends up betraying her has to be the best storyline that Infinity Train has ever come up with. I really can't think of anything negative to say about this season, other than that I despise Simon as a person. But that's the thing though, you're supposed to hate Simon. He's the antagonist. Hazel and the gorilla are also really complimentary, and a cameo from Amelia is always nice to see. The more I watch this season, the more I love it. This season was so good that even though its sequel, Season 4, was great, I still felt underwhelmed. If you haven't watched it already, you must watch Season 3. It really is the apex, no pun intended, of Infinity Train. This season is a perfect 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my list and suggest any future videos you want me to do next.